Welcome back to my channel, Rare Coins Shop. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're taking a close look at a coin you might think is just another piece of everyday change, the 2021 D Washington quarter. Yes, minted in Denver just a few years ago, this quarter looks pretty ordinary, but stick with me, because there's more to this modern coin than meets the eye. In fact, some 2021 D quarters have been turning heads in the numismatic world and commanding attention from collectors everywhere. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the fascinating story behind the 2021 D Washington quarter and discover why some of these coins might be worth a small fortune. The Washington quarter has been a beloved fixture in American currency since 1932, celebrating George Washington with his iconic profile on every coin. The 2021 quarters were part of the ongoing America the Beautiful series, which showcases national parks and historic sites across the country. The D mint mark tells us these quarters were struck at the Denver Mint, known for producing billions of coins annually. Ordinarily, a 2021 D quarter would be worth just 25 cents, but collectors have learned to look for the unusual, the rare, and the unexpected. Coins are small works of art, but sometimes the process that creates them can introduce errors or variations that make certain specimens extraordinarily valuable. For the 2021 D Washington quarter, several key features have sparked excitement. One of the most sought-after traits is mint errors, whether it's a double die where design elements appear duplicated or slightly shifted, or an off-center strike that leaves part of the design missing. These errors occur when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process or when the die stamps twice slightly out of sync. Another interesting aspect involves planchet errors, when the coin is struck on a blank piece of metal that might be thinner, thicker, or made from a slightly different alloy than usual. These unusual coins are rare and immediately attract collectors' attention. Condition is a huge factor in the value of any coin. Most 2021 D quarters will show some wear and tear from circulation, but a coin preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, with sharp details, no scratches, and brilliant luster, instantly commands a higher value. When a coin combines excellent condition with a unique mint error, it becomes a collector's dream. So, what kind of value are we talking about here? While most 2021 D quarters are worth just their face value or a little more if uncirculated, some rare error coins from this year have stunned the coin world by fetching prices that would make any collector's jaw drop. Believe it or not, certain 2021 D Washington quarters, especially those with notable minting errors and in top-grade condition, have been valued as high as $40,000. Yes, $40,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin minted just a few years ago, something we all use every day, can hold that kind of value. It's a powerful reminder that hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. So next time you get a 2021 D quarter in your change, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Inspect it for any signs of doubling, misalignment, or unusual wear. Look at the edges and the details on Washington's profile and the reverse design. If you spot something unusual, consider having it professionally examined. You could be holding a rare piece worth a small fortune. Second rare coin, we're taking a closer look at one of the most talked about modern coins in recent memory, the 2022 P. Maya Angelou Washington quarter. This coin not only carries powerful symbolism and historical significance, but in rare cases, it may be worth far more than you'd ever expect. Yes, this is a coin that's been creating buzz in the numismatic world, and by the time we get to the end of this video, you'll understand why some collectors are willing to pay jaw-dropping prices for the right one. Let's rewind for a moment and understand just how special this coin really is. In 2022, the United States Mint launched the American Women Quarters program, a series of coins celebrating influential American women who have made significant contributions in various fields like civil rights, science, politics, the arts, and more. And who better to kick off the series than the legendary Maya Angelou? Maya Angelou wasn't just a poet, she was a voice for justice, an icon of strength, and a symbol of grace. The 2022 quarter featuring her likeness marks the very first time a black woman appeared on the U.S. quarter. This wasn't just another piece of currency. It was a moment of history being struck into metal. On the obverse side, we still see George Washington's profile, but it's a fresh take, designed by artist Laura Garden Fraser, whose vision was originally created in 1932 but only now brought to life on circulating coins. On the reverse, we see Maya Angelou herself, arms outstretched, with a bird in flight and a rising sun behind her. It's poetic, powerful, and visually striking. This design captures her spirit perfectly and has made the coin stand out in the eyes of collectors. But why are we talking about a coin that was just minted in 2022? How could a coin so new already be making waves in the collecting world? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and most of all, minting errors. While millions of these quarters were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, designated by the P mark, only a tiny number have been found with unusual flaws, errors that happened during production. These errors include things like die cracks, off-center strikes, double dies, and even quarters struck on the wrong planchets. These are the kinds of mistakes that slip through unnoticed but later become hot items in the hands of collectors. And when a coin with such cultural importance also has a major minting error, that's when it becomes truly valuable. For example, imagine finding a Maya Angelou quarter with a double die error, where the inscriptions like United States of America or E pluribus unum appear slightly doubled, giving them a ghosted or shadowed effect. Or an off-center strike that misaligns the design just enough to be clearly noticeable. Or even more rare, a quarter struck on a nickel planchet, resulting in a smaller, lighter coin with missing design elements. Combine any of those errors with a pristine, uncirculated condition, where the coin has never been used, has no blemishes, and retains its original luster, and you're not just looking at a collectible. You're looking at something exceptional. What's truly exciting is that coins like these are often found where you'd least expect them. In spare change, in coin rolls from the bank, or tucked away in a drawer. That's part of the fun. This treasure hunt can begin anywhere, and all it takes is a careful eye and a little bit of knowledge. So what could a rare 2022 P Maya Angelou quarter be worth if it has one of these unique errors and is in top-grade condition? Well, while the average 2022 quarter might be worth just 25 cents, some of these rare error coins have already caught the attention of serious collectors and coin grading services. And in the most exceptional cases, one of these quarters has been valued at an astonishing $50,000. Yes, you heard that right, $50,000 for a single modern quarter. So if you've got a few 2022 Maya Angelou quarters lying around, it might be time to take a second look. Examine them closely. Look for anything unusual, doubling, misalignment, or signs of an error. And if you think you found something special, get it professionally graded. That small piece of change might just be a life-changing discovery. Third expensive coin, we're talking about one of the most overlooked, yet shockingly valuable coins in American history, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. That's right, the quarter that you've probably seen hundreds of times, maybe even have sitting in a drawer somewhere right now, could be worth far more than anyone ever expected. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see why some rare versions of this 1965 quarter are making waves in the collecting world, and why one of them could fetch an absolutely jaw-dropping price. Let's start with a little history. The year 1965 was a turning point for U.S. coinage. Up until that year, quarters were made of 90% silver. But as silver prices began to climb and the demand for coins increased, the U.S. Mint made a major decision, to remove silver from dimes and quarters completely. Starting in 1965, the Washington quarter was produced using a clad composition, a copper core with outer layers of nickel. This new composition made the coins less expensive to produce and helped reduce hoarding, which had become a big issue at the time. Now, here's where things get interesting, because 1965 was the first year of this big transition. A lot was happening behind the scenes at the U.S. Mint. Millions of quarters were being struck, and the change in composition meant new minting processes were being tested and perfected. With so much activity and pressure, a few mistakes were bound to happen, and those mistakes are exactly what make some 1965 quarters incredibly rare and valuable today. One of the most famous errors from this year involves a few 1965 quarters that were mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets, coin blanks meant for the previous year's silver quarters. This wasn't supposed to happen. But a few silver blanks made their way into the presses and were stamped with the 1965 date. Because these coins look almost identical to the new clad quarters, they went unnoticed for years. Only when sharp-eyed collectors weighed them, or noticed the lack of a copper edge, did the truth come out. Think about that for a second. You could have a coin in your hand right now that looks like any other quarter, but it might be a 90% silver version of the 1965 quarter, a rare survivor from one of the most important changes in U.S. coin history. But that's not the only kind of valuable error from 1965. Some quarters from that year also show signs of striking errors, things like double dies, where parts of the design appear to be duplicated, or off-center strikes where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting. And then there are the transitional errors, where coins were struck using dies or blanks from the wrong year or metal type. These types of mistakes are the holy grail for collectors, especially when found on a coin that already marks a significant moment in American numismatic history. Now, let's talk about condition. Most 1965 quarters are heavily circulated. You'll see scratches, dull surfaces, worn edges, just signs of everyday use. But every now and then, someone finds a 1965 quarter in nearly perfect condition. No scratches, full detail on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, strong luster, and perfect edges. That's when you start getting into serious collector territory. And if that coin also happens to have one of the rare errors or is struck on a silver planchet, well, now you're really talking. So what should you be looking for if you want to check your own 1965 quarters? First, check the edge. A clad quarter will have a visible copper core showing as a reddish or brown stripe. If you don't see that and the coin looks silver all the way through, it could be a rare silver planchet error. Next, weigh the coin. A regular clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, but a silver one will weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That small difference could be worth big money, and of course, always look for errors, doubling in the text or date, misaligned features, or anything unusual about the coin's appearance. If something seems off, it's worth having it checked out by a professional, because here's the real jaw-dropper: rare 1965 Washington quarters, especially those struck on silver planchets and in near-mint condition, have sold for astonishing prices. And in at least one documented case, a single rare 1965 quarter was valued at a breathtaking $200,000, yes, you heard that right, $200,000. For a quarter. That's why it pays to pay attention. Coins like this might seem common, but their stories, their history, and their hidden flaws can make them priceless. So go ahead, dig through your old change jars, check that dusty coin collection from your grandparents, or take a second look at the quarters you carry every day. You never know, you might just be holding a fortune in your hand.